Yeah, don't know how, but yeah.
Just click record again and stop and start again.
It doesn't.
It's all right. I'll
just
work it
go.
out.
Ah. Welcome to Spritz and Scrums, an Italian rugby podcast by three Benetton fans and Zebre, with a love for Aperol and all things rugby Italiano.
This week we're back. It's been a long off season, guys, but here we are in Ibiza, drinking spritz, ready to talk to you about all things Benetton, Zebre, and Italy rugby for the upcoming season.
Yeah, we are.
We're back.
Some of you will have noticed that we didn't do a final podcast for last season. That's because last season ended like a damp squid and we moved on.
That was months ago. We don't dwell on the past. We look to the future.
This episode is brought to you by
Jay.
RJC
Group.
Group. If any of you
Need, what do they need?
anything,
Energy trading consultant.
There we go. If any of you are in the market for an energy trading consultant, look up RJC Group.
Proud sponsors.
Proud sponsors of
the
Spritz and
Spritz and
Scrums.
Scrums Italian Rugby Podcast.
We are very serious. They're a wonderful company if you are in that market, and they have kindly loaned us this location to record our first pre-season episode ahead of Benetton Zebre's 2025-2026 season. It's apologies in advance. We don't know what the quality of this is going to be like. We're not editing this. We're filming it without mics. We're just bunging it out there. But we thought it was important to do a preview episode ahead of the URC kicking off this weekend. So here we are. We're on holiday and we thought we're all together. We should do it.
We're doing it. Right, so let's crack straight on. So, first of all, before we talk about what's to come, let's talk about what has come.
How has your summer been, Coach?
Okay.
Mine's been fine, thank you.
Very good.
Good. Moving on.
Thank you.
Right.
Been anywhere exotic?
We've had a very busy summer in terms of Italian rugby. So, first of all, Italy hosted the Under-20s Six Nations. And in that Under-20s Six Nations, Italy got their best ever result, finishing 7th in the world at the Under-20 level. And Italy did a fantastic job of hosting the tournament. And there's not much more else to say. Don't know where else to go with that. I mean, they did well. They finished their group on level points with Ireland. They
Put up some excellent fights.
generally kind of smashed it.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic because we were thinking as fans over the last couple of years that maybe since Aboud left, that maybe the under-20s were going to start to become weaker and that'd be a problem for Italy going forward. Obviously, Aboud's coming back, which is fantastic news for everyone involved. But no, Italy, obviously with home advantage, granted, smashed it. Best ever result in the under-20s, some huge talents going. So
Yeah, it's really exciting for the future, I think. I mean, we've been saying it for years, but the fact that they got their best ever result in the under-20s and not just kind of by like, beating averagey teams. They played some excellent games against some excellent teams and very much solidified themselves up there with some of the greats.
some of the greats.
Some of the greats of the under.
They're up there with the greats. Dan Carter and the Italy under-20 side, 2025.
We have to not ramble, and the issue with recording this podcast from here is that we have a stunning view in front of us that you guys can't see.
Yeah, do you want to see it?
He's gone. It's ridiculous. It's so much more ridiculous than you think it can be.
I forgot you probably can't hear us, so I should talk. There you go. And here we are.
Thank you to the RJC group. Get your consulting energy traders on that. Moving on. So the under-20s, that was what, June we're talking? So June, July.
It's a long time ago.
End of June, beginning of July. Alongside that, obviously the Italy men's team had some summer tests.
They did. They did have some summer tests. Before we get to that, though, there was obviously, as we're finishing now, the Women's World Cup, where, to be honest, Italy
was a
I
bit of a
imagine we're getting on the plane quite disappointed after that.
I was going chronologically, just FYI, but
I
the
know.
boys have decided to get through the damp squibs. Squids?
That's
squibs.
rude.
Well, no, but they disappointed. They were disappointed. They were in floods of tears at the end of their final game, the Italy women. It was a shame. It was like, and they played the last game was excellent, but they just, yeah, didn't do what they needed to do.
The
to
loss
get out
to
the
South
group.
Africa was very painful. They played hard, but rugby IQ at key moments was kind of lacking. South Africa are out there to win it. They knew it was on the line, and it kind of felt like Italy. Even at the end of the game, Italy had another chance. South Africa goal line dropout, and they let the ball bounce, and it bounced into touch. And it's like, what are you supposed to do with that as a coach? So just don't let the ball bounce. Obviously, this is your opportunity. Get the fucking ball,
But
and go back at them.
a totally,
What a way to end the World Cup for them.
totally unpatriotic. I am thrilled for South Africa because those women played their hearts out round after round, and they fully deserved to make it out of the group, unlike us. It was so cool to see.
I mean, the thing is, Italy with the ball in hand, they looked really good. Like at times they were attacking well. Obviously, like possession-wise, South Africa dominated them, but then still, like basic handling errors killed them because South Africa's scrum was so much stronger, unfortunately. And then they were still in the game. They still had it to be won, and then just I don't even know. Like I don't know. Like your rugby IQ is so important at an elite level to know exactly what you're trying to do at any minute, at any second. Have a clear vision for what you're trying to do in the next couple of minutes of the game, the next few phases. And it just felt at times like they didn't have that vision. And again, at the end, their number one priority needs to be get the ball, we go again. This is ours to win. Getting held up over the line and things like that. It's just like,
When you do that.
Anyway.
South Africa. Let's talk about South Africa.
The tour to South Africa.
That was a big deal, wasn't it?
Tour went down south, played 2 games against South Africa, 1 against Namibia. The game against Namibia was what you would hope from any tier 1 team to be able to do, to go somewhere where they should be politely spanking a team that is not anywhere near as good as
And
them.
it's a team they beat pretty comprehensively in the World Cup, but nowhere near with the same score. 73-6 is the kind of score that you would expect England or New Zealand or anyone to be putting on a side like that. And that's exactly what Italy did. They ran it around and scored tries with seeming ease. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the team that Italy took there, obviously, as you all know, because you're watching this, was not what we would call the Italy A team. It was not the first 15 of Italy. It was far from it. They left basically, well, the top 14 players, most of them weren't there. They had Zebre starting at 10 most of the time. Fantastic, really good experience for him. But the team was missing lots of what you'd think for the Six Nations and the Autumn Nations would be their star-studded team.
And that was a conscious Gonzalo choice.
Yeah, the depth, the education, the
an
learning.
Injury issue.
I mean, it proved good. However, you're obviously not going to go down there and beat South Africa with a team that isn't star-studded because South Africa fully loaded their team. However, having said that, I think overall, the tour was 3 good halves of rugby and 3 bad halves of rugby. You had the 2 halves against Namibia were very, very good. And then you had the first half in the first match against South Africa, which was pretty worrying. And it was like, oh, where's this going to go? And then the second half, they really come out and absolutely battered South Africa in that second half, which was amazing to see. And then a third match where South Africa decided that wasn't going to happen again and 2 underwhelming halves. But overall, I think that tour is a success. And not only is it a success for Italy, for building their depth, but it's also a massive success for the franchises of Italian rugby because those guys are going back now with huge experience. Zebre, when he next starts at 10 for Zebre, he's got the fact that he's played against the Springboks in South Africa. Like, you can't buy that experience. That experience is massive, and across the board they had that. So I think in the nicest way possible. Italy were not embarrassed by that tour, which
On paper, they could have been.
was a potential concern, especially when you saw how the first game against South Africa started. You were thinking, this could all be a bit heavy. But they played with a lot of heart, a lot of discipline. Defense was good, attack was structured, and actually, all things all, fairly impressive, very impressive.
They've got in November 3 Quilter Nations series. I don't know who Quilter are or what they do, but they are no longer called the Autumn Nation series. They are now the Quilter Nation series. And those games will be 3 weekends over the course of November in Udine, Genoa, Turin, and they will be playing Australia, Samoa,
South Africa,
and South Africa.
which is actually quite tough now because Australia have found themselves spiritually and physically on the rugby pitch and are now looking like a force to be reckoned.
But I would go, that's of the 3, that's the one I would want to like.
Well, no. So it's got to be losing to Samoa cannot be an option. They have to beat Samoa.
Sorry, Jacob.
I'm wearing Jacob Umanga's hat, but they have to beat Samoa. Like that's where they've got to be. South Africa at home with a better side, but they're still South Africa, but they're looking a bit shitter than they have, if I'm perfectly honest. They will be targeting that for a win, but really overall, I think it's one of those seasons where they'll be like, right, 2 wins out of 3. That's what we expect. That's what we need. And actually, we could try and grab one against South Africa, or we can have the one against Australia. But either way, 1 win is meh, but fine. No wins is an absolute disaster. 2 wins is a success. 3 wins, high-fiving strangers on a night bus. It's Prosecco and Spritz all round. Spritz is for winners all round. It'd be one for the ages, but 2's got to be what they need.
Yeah, is high-fiving strangers on a night bus, is that like a sort of standard English phrase?
No,
Car joke.
Oh, okay.
Can I get some more spritz? Excuse me.
Please help yourself. Yeah, I've never heard anyone say it apart from Eddie.
But looking at that and looking at how they could do it, so he looked at the inexperienced side that played down in South Africa, which is as hard as it gets as a tour. Maybe New Zealand potentially harder, but it's still there. But then you look at the players who didn't go to that tour and how they're doing. You know, going to South Africa with no Martin Pedrola, no Paolo Garbisi, no Lamaro.
Monty
wasn't there. Yeah,
Pozzo
wasn't there. I mean, like some massive names missing. And then you look at right now, the top 14 season has started, and you look at how those players are doing in the top 14, and they are smashing it. Every week I look at how the top 14 are doing and I go, geez, that looks good. All right, you've got Martin Pedrola, scored 3 tries in the first 2 games for Bordeaux. You got Paolo Garbisi starting at 10, looking good for Toulon. Then you've got Brex also at Toulon at 13. We know how good he is. You've got Monty Ione running in tries for fun for Lyon. You know, like Tommy Allen starting at 10 for Perpignan. Those guys, it's looking great. Federico Mori, all right, back
he
from
missed
injury.
Out summer,
he missed out, back from injury, and he's starting at 12 for Bayonne. Like, they're actually 1 player short, which they wouldn't be with Capozzo's injury, of actually having a full star-studded top 14 backline. Because you could have Martin Pedrola 9, Paolo Garbisi 10, Federico Mori 12, Brex 13, Monty on 1 wing, Capozzo on the other wing, and Tommy Allen at the back. That's not even to mention the Premiership players. That's not even to mention the franchise Benetton and Zebre players. So it's all on Quesada to get that together for the autumn internationals, because there's shit tons of talents there. Massive talents.
That I can't go to them, but you 2 will go in my absence.
We will go. 2 of them at least.
Yeah.
But aim for all 3.
3, aim big.
Aim high.
Well, remember,
big or go home.
When Italy play Australia, they would have played England the weekend before.
Australia would have, yeah.
So that could be a scalp. just not that Italy couldn't do it with a forward strength team.
It's on England and going like, okay, we'll
Exactly.
worry about Italy when we get to Italy, but really the focus needs to be on England. And then they'll kind of be like, well, it's not going to be anywhere near as tough as that. Yeah.
And the South Africa game, the first half of the first test down in South Africa, they looked like it could be a potential comeback, but I think they just ran out of maybe juice a little bit, or maybe they didn't believe enough that they could have done enough in the first half.
Is Italy's first game as well, I think, of the three.
Yeah.
So that would they're gonna, all the focus is gonna be on that.
But long may Paolo Garbisi continue playing at 10 for too long, because that's so important, because it's so difficult for Italy to go, oh, well, our fly half that is basically nailed on
Plays at 12. Yeah.
plays at 12. I mean, that's no disrespect to Tommaso Allen, who they put at fullback a fair amount. But yeah. However, having said that, on the Tour de Rey, Zebre number 10, Priskintelli's left. He's got an opportunity. Priskintelli, Zebre got his weight in absolute 24-carat gold to let him go. But that means the number 10 slot is there for de Rey, and he can be playing at 10 all season. And that means that when the Six Nations, the Autumn Internationals come around, there's another fly half who's playing regularly at the top level with massive experience. So,
yeah,
exciting.
No, I'm excited for it. Also, separately, not relevant really, but separately, our video on corporate and public hospitality for the Six Nations is coming out in a couple of weeks. So if you're interested in going to experience some hospitality at any of these internationals or the Six Nations next year, reminder, it's ages away, but reminder that Italy will be playing Scotland and England in Rome next year. If you want hospitality, wait for our video and it will tell you exactly what you need to do and where to go.
Hang on a minute.
To book it.
Our kind host is just watching us there like a pervert. And if he's not careful, Rich, put the camera on him.
Thank you to the RJC group.
He's also our touch rugby coach. Yeah.
For any of your energy consulting needs, you know where to go. Moving on, let's talk very quickly about the Benetton and Zebre's pre-season friendlies, but also kind of what's happened in the, I was going to say transfer window. Is there a transfer window for rugby?
No, they're not allowed anywhere.
And that's what's happened. We've lost a couple of players, big ones. Zebre's lost Priskintelli and Benetton lost Rex. Tragic. Build a statue of him in the town square. What a guy.
Man didn't want to go.
Sounds like that was a bit of a cock-up. But anyway, he's actually on. Hopefully they pay him millions of billions of
pounds. And you know what? He's
there. Earned it. And we'll see him every time for
2 weeks. And he's already ripping shit up.
He's fantastic. He's aging like a fine wine. He gets better every year. Yeah. It's phenomenal. But no one else left.
Yeah.
And I remember after Italy played England, being on the train back, speaking to some other Italian rugby pundits, and everyone was like, well, get ready for a bit of like a tough time for Benetton because everyone's going. Giuliani's leaving, Menoncello's leaving, Lamaro's leaving, and the list just went on and on and on and on and on about people who are leaving the club. And they've just said, no one's leaving.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the amount of money that Mr. Benetton would have put into not selling any of those players, they've invested incredibly heavily in retaining those players, because the amount of money that they would have thrown at them, that Toulon would have thrown at them, that French clubs would have thrown at them for Albanos, for Menoncello. I mean, the Albanos Menoncello rumours are still going on now. We fell for them as well. Like a whole load of French rugby pundits were like, that's it, Albanos is off, he's signed for Toulon, it's done. And we were like, okay, I guess he's signed. Turns out, no.
But I asked McRae about it after the Harlequins game, the Benetton new head coach, and I asked him, what happened? Why did no one leave? It's amazing you kept them. And he said he's been very clear about what he wants to do, and that Benetton is not to be a feeder club for other clubs, because as soon as you get into the habit of being a feeder club, or people see you as a feeder club, you are no longer top draw rugby. And their idea is to be a European powerhouse, which obviously they're putting the money behind being, and they can do. And then I asked him if I could put him on the record for that. and then he fucked off. And I think he hit me. And that's fine. My own self-loathing will deal with that and my anxiety.
But he has put it on the record.
But I, as a journalist, had to ask the difficult questions.
For you guys.
That was a good game, though. We went to it.
We went to it. So pre-season friendly, Benetton had 2. Zebre also had 2. One we're against Harlequins, which we went to. We had a great day out.
And Benetton, it was great. I was there with them and him with the with our proud sponsor was also there watching us. He's just on the sofa like a handsome man.
A shocking first half.
Shocking first half. They were down and out. But what made this even juicier is that we were there with a bunch of people I know who are Harlequin season ticket holders. And before the game, they're like, "Oh, may the best team win." But you knew they didn't think Benetton stood a chance. And then at the end, Benetton absolutely destroyed them in the second half. Nilled Harlequins in the second half. Obviously, it's one of those games where you have a squad of over 30. It's almost rolling subs and people coming on and off. It's not the point. The point was to go to Twickenham Stoop and batter Harlequins all in all.
It was great.
But also, the game was fantastic because Harlequins, as they do, is one of the most exciting rugby clubs in the world, I think, wanted to just run the ball from anywhere. And then Benetton decided they were going to do the same thing. And the rugby was hugely entertaining in a gloriously sunny day in southwest London.
Yeah, glorious. The kind of post-match analysis that the Quins website put out, their report was Quins beaten by strong Benetton side. Now, the irony is, it wasn't a strong Benetton side on paper. On paper, it was like, we were like, oh God, this is going to be tough because they didn't really bring anyone.
We were Googling it.
They left most of the Italian or all of the Italian internationals who played in the summer had been left behind.
I know, they brought Jacob. They brought a couple of, the guys that we rely on. As
Mara was there because he missed the summer,
but essentially
there was no Seb Negri, there was like none of famous beef.
They basically 30 odd players. They basically flipped a team, brought on a whole new team, and those guys really did the business.
They did.
Number 23? Was it?
What I can't remember this guy's name, and it was embarrassing putting him on the spot like that. Young guy, young winger, absolutely rapid, and the hunger that he played with, I was like, I'm immediately in. I'm in. Signed up. This guy's great. We need to see more of him. My phone's there, so I can't actually. It begins with an L.
Luisato, 26.
He was so exciting, and hopefully he gets game time. Often when you're a small wing like that and you're young, you don't get the game time because they're just not going to risk it. But hopefully he does. He was so exciting.
He was so good.
So exciting.
Generally, just that second half was so much fun to watch. And you came away, I kind of couldn't believe it. I mean, the final score was 1933. That's huge. It's a huge pumping. But at half time.
Well, it is when Harlequins were nil in the second half. And then the second game that Benetton played was against Black Lion.
At home.
And that was a bit more of a damp squib. I wasn't really happy about that game, but they're testing stuff. They're trying stuff. It's okay. Zebre Parma had given Black Lions a bit of a battering the week before, which was fantastic because it's a high stakes game because people are talking about the USC and expansion and where teams stand. And obviously people are looking at Zebre, even though they had a really good season last year, but they're still looking at them and going, well, hang on, can Italy have a third franchise potentially if this team doesn't pull out the bag? And who's going in? Black Lion could probably go in. And so for Zebre just to absolutely smash them at home was really, really reassuring. Obviously Zebre did get smashed by Lyon, but then also about that, it's the kind of game that Lyon are always going to batter Zebre because it's not even about your first 15, those kind of games. When you pick a squad of 35 or whatever the hell it is, you've got 2 first 15s. Yeah. And Lyon obviously have more depth than Zebre Parma. I think actually Zebre Parma would have done better if it was a normal squad of 23.
Zebre, really. Over the next year or so, will build their depth and continue to grow. But as it stands, we have it on good authority that often they haven't got a second, they haven't got a team to play against when they're training themselves. So what can you expect? However, I'm very excited for Zebre's prospects this season. I think all they've got to do is continue to grow from like no drop off. Yes, obviously Fischetti's gone. Obviously they've lost Priscintelli. They've lost some key. However, some of those players weren't around when Zebre were winning back to back, week on week in the second half of last season.
Fafter Fischetti was missing for most of it because he was injured. He just wasn't around. His personality was still there. However, I'm glad they've given the captaincy back to Licata.
Yeah.
Really good for Licata. I'm so happy to see that.
It's big news. He's been out for basically a year, so I'm very excited to see him. And the big transfer Benetton to Zebre that stands out of them all is that Sanon has now moved over to Zebre, which I think is really exciting.
Huge. I think this Zebre side, plus the experience, as I said, about those Zebre players playing in South Africa and getting all of that experience. Pani coming back, as you said, George Biaggi, the head of rugby operations at Zebre, once told us that he thinks Pani could be, he's as talented, he could be as good as a Blair Kinghorn. Like, he's an Italian Blair Kinghorn. He's play anywhere, do it all, phenomenal player.
Yeah, we'll see, because he's been out of action.
Let's not forget, he got try of the season last year's Six Nations.
2 years ago.
I don't mean last, no, 2024.
Yeah.
Last year.
One more thing to say on Zebre. We'll look ahead and, you know, there's no point kind of predicting too much in advance. The URC kicks off this weekend, so we'll be back properly from next week commenting on the games. But their kit, as usual, looks exceptional.
Not just their kit, the other kit, the training kit. I mean, some bloody kit. It's great stash. It's great stash, and I need it. I want it.
I've never sent you any stash.
Fuckers.
I didn't think it was that great.
Whoa. Yeah, look at him. What a mess.
What's the Benetton kit like?
Wow.
Traditional.
Very standard.
They've done a really cool reveal where they were in the Opera House in Treviso, and it's so cool, and I'm always on board for it. If I was being cynical, and don't hate me, Federico, if I was being cynical, I would say that's exactly how Zebre released their kit last year, and their main sponsor is their Opera House. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that is a complete copy of what Zebre Parma did last year. However, I'm still on board. It still plays because people have short memories. And as far as everyone else is concerned, Italy and opera, that's classy as shit.
So you're never going to get us hating on that. They're like our two favorite things.
I'm all in. I'm all in. I think I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Also, I just love Benetton don't need to twat around with their kit. They've done it in the past, but just traditional green and white hoops. It's so refreshing. It's so classy. It's so nice. I know, but I love it. I love it. The only thing they're missing is the Cipriani food logo, because I think, you know, Harry's Bar in Venice is classy, and I just like class, you know.
I think it looks fun and different. But yeah, I was a little bit like, what are we looking at with this new kit? Because it looks exactly the same. But there we go. You're a man of tradition and habit, creature of habit. You enjoy, you know, year on year, similar kit. Is that okay for you?
Slow way, which I think they call conservative.
Yes.
I like the kit. Sometimes it reminds me of, like, I don't know, there's too many logos.
It's not really this year though.
It is a bit of a Formula One car.
Yeah, it looks like a Formula One car.
I was like, oh,
all like
missing some logos.
Like a petrol station with a lot of offers on. Because there's so many different, like, brands I don't know. You know, when you go to a foreign country and you pull up to the petrol station, there's just brands you don't know. Like when I go to Ireland, there's just brands I just don't know. And you just accept it. But they're everywhere on it. And it's the same for me with the Benetton kit. I don't know who these brands are. I don't know if they're cool or not.
You've heard of Prosecco?
Yeah, but there's one on, like, the shoulder that they've paid maybe 50 grand for, and then just below the breastplate there'll be another random logo. No one really knows what it is.
Cucine or whatever it is. I don't actually know what Cucine is.
It always looks the same, because when you're in the stands, it's green.
It's the same.
And I think it looks great. What else have we got to talk about?
One thing I was going to say is the exciting thing that we should mention about Benetton is the Australians that have.
Yes, some Melbourne Rebels players are there. One of them's got a horrific mullet, but he oozes scrum half energy, and I love that.
We're not editing this podcast. I'm pretty sure
Who are the Rebels? Melbourne Rebels, who actually don't exist anymore. They're gone.
Fine. So
forget about them. They're dead. They've gone. Doesn't exist. Queensland's Reds, and they've sent over some players, which is fantastic. And I wonder if Benetton are going to send players back in the offseason. However, their number 9 has got a horrific haircut, but he kind of rocks it because his like scrum half energy is through the roof.
And he knows his scrum halves.
I know. He is on the pitch as annoying as it gets. And I love it. I love that that's there. And also, I think that it's important that there's some decent scrum halves because I think Alessandro Garbisi, who played brilliantly in the pre-seasons, but he needs pressure on him at club level.
I'm excited. I mean, we don't want to. This podcast is meant to be short because we haven't got the mics. We haven't got all of the editing that we normally do. So we don't want to ramble on too much. And this weekend, it all kicks off. URC is back, baby. And so are we.
Benetton's also got 2 captains this year. They've announced that Seb Negri, congrats to him, is going to be taking the captaincy along with Lamaro. So congratulations to both of them. I think, isn't it interesting that all the Italian captains are flankers?
True.
It's a good stat.
It's a good little fact you've pulled out there.
Benetton are playing against Connacht away. Doable, tough. Benetton have a terrible track record away from home.
But they need to sort that out.
But they need to sort it out. Because again, as McRae said, he wants to be a powerhouse of European rugby. And so, you know, anyone else is going to go to a game like that and want to win it. And Benetton can absolutely do that. They've got the ability. Yeah. And then Zebre are hosting Edinburgh. Again, a tough game. But both of these games are sort of, I would put on which is great for Zebre. I'd put them on a 50-50. I'd flip a coin.
Crazy.
Which is fantastic. So,
I mean, that's the fun thing about like the season kicking off, right? Like we don't really know what to expect. We kind of have hopes and dreams, but we'll see. We'll see after week 1.
I don't know why Zebre's fixtures on paper seem easier than Benetton's. I think it's to do with the home and away mix that they've got. Benetton seems to have quite a tough season. Yeah. But anyway, if you're going to win, you've got to win.
Team, so
and then the Challenge Cup, and they better fucking win that as well because I'm fed up of
it. Next week. Finally, what made Coach mad this week?
Well, we're in Ibiza. Ibiza, however you say it.
I say Ibiza.
Oh, the Italian, Ibiza.
Ibiza. A pizza.
No, Ibiza.
Pizza.
Ibiza. What made me mad is I leave tomorrow. I go back to Birmingham instead of this beautiful place. So that's what made me mad this week. There's nothing funny in it. It's just a reality. Although when I did
line from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, you're not funny, Tom.
No, not funny. Yeah, you're not funny, Tom. And when I booked my flight back to from Ibiza, I got this from Jet2, which I think I took a screenshot of. I didn't, but it says, "Congratulations, not congratulations." No, well done, or something like. Oh damn! I wish I had it on my thing now, but it said, "Welcome back to." You know,
Birmingham.
You're going to Birmingham. It's just a picture of Selfridges in a church no one uses. So
but just think, we've got this beautiful view in front of us. In a couple of days' time, you will have the canals of Birmingham, which they call the Venice of the UK.
No one calls it that. The fact is, it's got more canals than Venice. However, they've got way more dead bodies and dead pigeons.
But that's what made Coach mad this week.
Finally, excitingly, in the Premiership for Italian rugby this season, there's a plethora of Italian players to watch.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, you speak English, and so maybe some of you are in England and you can watch them because there's the trio at Exeter Chiefs. Stephen Varney's had a phenomenal pre-season. He's looking amazing for Exeter Chiefs. Him, Martin Pedrello, Fusco, Alessandro Garbisi, number 9, which has often been considered the problem child of Italian rugby in recent years, is looking stronger than ever. But they've got him, they've got Zambanin, which is tragic to see him leave Zebre Parma, but he'll have a great time. I taught him everything he knows. And then you've got, obviously, Ross Vincent at the flank at number 8, so bang, you've got those 3.
Yeah, I think if you're going to see a Premiership team and you're Italian, I would go for Exeter this season.
But then also you've got Northampton with Faf de Fischetti. We call him Faf de Fischetti because his attitude is exactly like Faf de Klerk. He is just a very heavy scrum half at heart. And Teodoro also
Todaro.
also in the centres, who hopefully is going to be playing for Northampton this season. And we saw him in Harlequins.
He's debuting this weekend.
Fantastic. We saw him at the Stoop, and we said,
Stunning.
Faf was actually really funny about it, because I was like, oh man, loads of people are talking about you. And Fischetti was like, no, don't put more pressure on him. He was like really protective. It was really cute. Like Fischetti was really like, don't put more pressure on him. I was like, no, there's no pressure.
He introduced to us.
But everyone is talking about you.
Like, and this guy, because we were like, ciao, Fischio, no, we call you Faf. He was like, ciao. And then he was like, Stockon. We were like, oh, you, oh my God. And he was like, no pressure, no pressure. We were like, we think you might be the next big thing.
As he left, I yelled at the bar, no pressure.
There we go.
So there's Northampton. Obviously, you've got Riccione at Saracens. Who have I missed? Definitely missed someone. Definitely missed lots. No. He's a Zebre Parma. Doesn't matter. I can't think right now. But the point is, there are Italian players, and that extra Chiefs one, particularly the three of them. That's very exciting. It's well worth watching.
Yeah. I'm down to extra for a game, actually, if ever they start all together. But that's a story for another day. In the meantime, we will be back next week to comment on the Benetton and the Zebre games.
Bortolami obviously also is head coach now at Sale Sharks. So for Italian Rugby,
if you're in the Manchester area,
can't be turning our back on Marco Bortolami, the former Italian captain and Benetton head coach. So good luck to him at Sale Sharks. Wish him all the best.
Obviously, for now, the Argentinians are still tied up with the Rugby Championship, which if you haven't been watching, where have you been? Because it's the most exciting Rugby Championship there's been maybe ever. So Benetton are going to have to do some work without them for the next couple of weeks. But
Zebre Parma as well, with Garcia missing.
Yeah. Amazing. We'll be back to report on all of that. Now, I think it's time for dinner.
Cheers.
Right, arrivederci, ciao, grazie mille, ci vediamo. We look forward to the season, all the best.
Spritz is for winners. See you this season. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
That tune's brought to you by
the RJC.
He's been sitting there the whole time to do that. They're hiding away. Okay, we might actually do some. And then, well, bye.
Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.